Joyce and Showers said that you have to do this kind of stuff, and then you have to proactively and purposefully create coaching for what is most important from things like today and the rest of the conference, so that you can reinforce what's going on and do that in an embedded way. That's what they said. So it's a combination of coaching and hopefully in some minor way motivational kind of work like what we're doing today. So there's so many examples of this about professional development. If you're interested, go to teachspecialed.com. Take a look at some of the very best constructed curricula that I know that deals with basic issues in dealing with kids with disabilities. Teachspecialed.com. It's a very, very, very well prepared online asynchronous training opportunity. Lastly, the issue of leadership, and we talked about this issue of leadership earlier, and you know, it just seems to me that the way what we have to pay attention to about this issue of leadership is we really do need to pay attention to with this middle section here about inspiring trust and modeling what we expect other people to do. It was very difficult for me to do this, but when Apple created their first Newton, did any of you remember the Newton? That was the very first PDA, was something that Apple did under the leadership that they had at that moment. And what I thought was cool about that Newton is how difficult it was to use, but I also thought that if I want to model for my staff what I'm expecting them to do, I've got to get involved with this technology and show them what it can do. So on a trip from Boston to Salt Lake, I had my 2 pages a day big Franklin planner thing with, it was leather, it was really cool looking, and I had it on the little tray in the plane. And on that 5 hours, I went cold turkey and put everything into the Newton and went for it. Once again, that notion of revolution rather than evolution. If we're expecting people to figure out the best way to use technology in all ways, then as leaders, we need to pay attention to what we're doing as well to make sure that we're modeling what we're expecting people to do. Does that make sense? So that point about leadership, I think, is a critical one. Let me just get down to the very end of this. You can look on the wiki and you can get copies of all of this. This is really the way I'd like to close this off, David. This is a real important issue that Covey raised that I think about every moment of my life, because we're human beings and we don't always do this right. You know, we know a lot of stuff, but we don't implement what we know. And do you really know it unless you implement it consistently? The answer is no, of course. I'm going to suggest to you that there are some examples of what we know versus what we do, and you tell me if this relates to where you live as well. There are these 5 basic components of early reading that comes from 30 years of research, in this case at the National Institutes of Health in the United States. And after those 30 years, it became very clear what we need to do to teach kids to read. So why would we possibly use a constructivist ideology for all kids when we know from 30 years of research that that won't work if you expect all of those kids to learn to read? Why would we do that? Why wouldn't we make decisions based on data rather than making decisions based on tradition when we know that making decisions based on tradition doesn't result in all kids learning? How about teacher certification? I'm not sure how that works in Canada, but we're here on a university campus, and I can tell you, if this campus is anything like the campuses in the United States, academic freedom is a big, giant deal amongst university people. They get to keep teaching ancient strategies that didn't work back then but still don't work to all the people who are going through their certification programs to become teachers, and then all of you who work out in school systems get to undo that and then redo what actually works. Why should that be allowed? If that's happening at all in Canada anywhere in our listening and viewing audience, that's got to be stopped. Diagnosing kids using response intervention makes a lot of sense. There's great research behind that. But still there are people in this country as well as in the United States who think that IQ achievement discrepancy means something. It doesn't. But we keep doing it. This is the bottom line.